Hey, what's going on, True Blazer fans? It's Torey, and I'm back with the third week of Monday Mailbag, where you guys give me questions and I answer them. Let's jump into the first question. Well, it was more of a request. Doomfist Livid said, great video as always, Torey. He's talking about the Zach Collins player analysis. If you haven't watched that, you should go check it out. It's a great video. I was hoping to see that Zach Collins 360 no-scope three-point shot. Could I get that in the mailbag? Yes, you can. Here you go. And I'm going to answer some other questions while the rest of this video plays. On that same video, Embarking Box said, when do you think Zach will take over the starting power forward spot? If he starts showing a lot of promise this year, do we think we look at trading Aminu at the trade deadline? I don't think we'd try and trade Aminu just because Zach Collins is playing well, because Zach Collins is going to get enough minutes off the bench regardless, because he's really our third big. We really don't have a good fourth big, so he could end up playing 30 minutes off the bench. You know what I mean? Like, if he plays well, I think that would be in part because he's playing against bench units, so I don't think it'd necessarily be a bad thing that he's coming off the bench, especially since he can get his minutes. I could see them trying to trade Aminu for another player, though, because nobody really wants Myers Leonard's contract, nobody wants Evan Turner's contract, so matching salary in a trade might be tough, and it might require tossing in Aminu's $7 million a year. If Collins is playing well, it might lead them to feel better about including Aminu in a trade for maybe a small forward, or a guy like Tobias Harris who can play the 3 and the 4. A person with the YouTube username of Right asked, if you had a draft pick, which one would you take, Zion Williamson or Nasir Little? Now, I haven't talked at all about college prospects next year. There's some decent prospects at the top, but it's not really a deep draft. Zion Williamson and Nasir Little are both consensus top 5 picks. At this rate, I think Zion Williamson will go number 1, and that's who I would pick. He's more than a dunker. You know, he has a lot of hype just because of his vertical and his size and strength, but he actually has some game. He has some ball handling ability, he has some passing vision, he's shown he can knock down jump shots, and he might not be the best from there, but given the rest of his game, if he's just average, that'll be great. And he's only 6'7", but he could definitely play power forward because of his strength, because of his athleticism, because of how quick he jumps, but he could also play small forward with his ball handling ability, and we really need a forward in general. Nasir Little can play both positions, I just don't think he can do it as well. And to get a type of player that the NBA's never seen, to get a guy that's a generational athlete, a generational talent, I think you gotta go with Zion Williamson. I've fully bought into the Zion Williamson hype, and if we had the chance to get him, I would love to have him in a Blazer uniform. We had another great question from Nikos Kodakris. Let me know if I'm saying that name wrong. He said, I can't remember if you have answered this before, but from our guards, except Dame and CJ, who will get more minutes? Also, will Gary Trent Jr. play at small forward? Will he grab minutes from Evan Turner? Last one, what would you prefer, Zach or Aminu starting at power forward? And then he apologizes for his English, which is absolutely fine. Your English is good, man. That's awesome that you're watching these videos from Greece. To answer the first question, I think Seth Curry will get all of the backup guard minutes. I think that's what they signed him for. I think that Wade Baldwin might see situational minutes at best, but Wade Baldwin is a guy that maybe next year, once Seth Curry most likely is gone, that would be a guy that would crack the rotation. I think Seth Curry is going to get 24-25 minutes a game at those backup guard spots because he's that good of a player, man. People are kind of sleeping on him. I think he'll surprise everybody and be absolutely amazing, and one of the top 6 men in the league off the bench behind Dame and CJ. Gary Trent Jr. will probably play small forward. We have a ton of guards, and I've heard from a source I know that might sound made up, but I have heard from somewhere that Neil Olshey views Gary Trent as a guy that can slide in at small forward, and hopefully he can steal minutes from Evan Turner, because I honestly think he's just as good right now, and he will definitely be better down the road since he's young. Last one, what do I prefer, Zach or Aminu starting at power forward? I prefer Maurice Harkless starting at small forward, and I think Aminu's a better fit next to Harkless because both of those guys can guard 1 through 4 and even some small ball 5 if they need to. Having those two guys means that they can switch amongst each other. We saw it in the Clippers series where Harkless would guard Chris Paul and Aminu would guard Blake Griffin, but then they'd switch those pick and rolls to try and shut that down. It actually was a pretty decent strategy. I just like Aminu next to Harkless for their switchability. You could experiment experiment with Zach Collins with the starting lineup without starting him. You could have Zach Collins end the first half with the starters, you know what I mean? You can kind of mix up the rotation so you see both of those guys with the starting lineup to see who helps the starting lineup more. I just think Aminu is probably a better fit there. You don't really want Aminu coming off the bench either, where he'd be like the second or third scorer in the lineup. I think he complements Dame and CJ well, so I'd like him in that lineup as the 5th scorer. Very good question, thank you. And that's actually all the questions we had in the past week. Now, last week's Monday Mailbag, I forgot to ask you guys for your questions at the end of the video, so that might be the reason. So if you have a question about the channel in general, or Blazer basketball, I'd love to answer it. Just leave your question in the comment section down below and we will get to it next Monday. In the week ahead, we'll be dropping a Seth Curry player analysis and now Farouk Aminu player analysis, hopefully in the next 2 days because I've already recorded both of those. We're going to be talking about the Jimmy Butler situation and how it affects Portland. And then I probably will have another video somewhere in there, maybe another player analysis, maybe something else, because there is other types of videos that I have planned for you guys. At the end of these Monday mailbags, I'm going to start outlining the week ahead like that. So if you're interested in what we have planned, make sure to keep watching these mailbags. Anyway, this has been Torey. I hope you guys have an amazing week ahead. I know I love using the word amazing, but it's an amazing word. And with that, I'm out of here. This has been Torey. Go Blazers.